Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jones Podcast. The Jones Podcast is a podcast that acknowledges great individuals from my city of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and worldwide. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the Jones Podcast. What's going on, Jones Podcast family? With me today, I have one of Montgomery's hip-hop artists, Kappa Carter. Cap, what's going on, man?
What's good with you, man? Glad to be here.
Glad to have you on, man. So for the people who don't know you out there, man, let them know something about you.
Well, man, I'm Kappa Carter. My brand that I like to rep is Grow House Fresh Veggies. I'm from the small town of Prattville, Alabama, located 13 miles north of Montgomery, Alabama. I've been doing music since I was about 9 years old. Started doing hip hop probably in about 2011 and been at it ever since, man. And, just music is basically in my bloodline, man. My dad and his whole family played music. Got music artists on my mom's side of the family as well. I do a little bit of graphic design. It's basically when everybody else was doing their schoolwork in school, I was drawing cartoons and writing poetry. So, it's crazy because, all my teachers would call my mom and tell my mom that, I was a really bright young man, but I just never applied myself. And it was ironic because they just didn't know what I was applying myself to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. So, man, we've met because we have mutual friends. We have Louis Don Lulu and my man Erick Crummy with the radio station. And it's kind of crazy how this internet thing works out and you meet people, man, from your own state that you never heard of. And I'm kind of happy that I did meet you, man, because I listened to a couple of your CDs and you're a bad dude, man.
I appreciate it, man.
You're a bad dude, and I always wondered how hard is it coming from Alabama to get notoriety?
Man, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. It's work. It's hard work. You got to put a lot of time into it. You got to put a lot of money into it, and especially coming from where I came from, man. I've been through a lot of struggle. I didn't have like a poor family growing up. It's like my mom never, I never went without because my mom always had me took care of. But when I got out and got on my own, I made some pretty harsh decisions and kind of put myself in a bad situation. And, I wasn't putting my money into my art. And, now that I've gotten to the point where I'm putting my money into my art, I don't have much to put into my art. So I do what I can to get where I can. And, it's gotten a lot better since I started really, really putting my investments into my music. But it takes a lot. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of time and energy. You sacrifice a lot of sleep. You sacrifice a lot of time, personal time. I've got 2 children and, I get them every other weekend. And, once I get myself in the position to where I can start doing this music and making a substantial amount of money at it, which I believe if I continue doing it, it will happen. I don't believe anybody that is successful made it happen overnight. It takes a long time to get where you want to be as an independent artist. And labels even are not looking for you unless they see you doing something on your own. Mm-hmm. It's a very rare occasion that a label will come across somebody who really doesn't have that big of a following, who doesn't really have a whole lot invested into their music aside from a few things here and there, that will just go on a whim and take a leap of faith and back their career with a package of promotion, money, music videos, things like that. It comes with a lot of self-investment first. And in the position I'm in now, I'm slowly getting there, and I've been blessed to have the opportunity to work with Noah Baker from the Alabama Massacre franchise, and I'm starting to work with a videographer that's helping me out, getting my visuals done. So this year, I'm looking to really make something happen. It's 2020, and it's time to really pick up and take off with it.
When it comes to the stereotypes of artists from Alabama, have you got a lot of stereotypes thrown at you because of where you're from?
If I'm being honest with you, and it's not to toot my own horn or anything, I surprise a lot of people. Just because, a lot of artists from Alabama pretty much talk about the same thing. There's not very many artists that talk about the things that I talk about. I talk about positive things. I don't curse in my music. I'm very spiritual. And, that's rare around here. And I don't really like, the race being brought into it, because I don't believe that color has ever been an issue as far as equality goes. Like, we are all equal. Doesn't matter what background we came from, what ethnicity we belong to. We all come from the same God. We all live under the same sun. But I do catch a lot of flack, white guy this, white guy that. I've been accused of being a culture vulture, stealing the culture. And hip hop is just something that I admire, because it's poetry and music.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of heart that goes into it, a lot of soul that goes into it. And I don't doubt that there are artists out there that talk about, the trap life and really do be about what they're talking about. But there's also a major influence that comes from what people are listening to. There are very few people that realize that music is the most effective channel for human influence.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And I feel like the biggest target for that influence is the youth. We have to realize, we have to wake up and realize that things that we say in our art and the way we portray ourselves as artists influence those that are growing up and listening to our music. And I feel like if we were to change the message, then we'd be able to put a dent in all of the tragedy that occurs and all of the hardship that these young people have to endure. There's no reason why young people should be selling drugs and hurting people and being involved in gangs and violence and things like that. You can blame it on the upbringing, but my mother raised me right, and I still made mistakes.
True.
But it was because of the people I hung around, because of the things that I was being fed through media. I felt like that was how I fit in. That was how I was going to have friends, and in growing up, I realized that that's not the case. We are all our own individuals. We all make our own choices, but it being a youth and being able to be molded by things in our surroundings it plays a major part in it, and, my mom, she's a good mom, she's a wonderful woman. She's always been there to help me when I've put myself in a pickle, so I can't really, I don't really agree with, parenting being the issue as much as it is, especially in this digital age. We can't prevent our children from listening to things that may influence them in a negative way. So I feel like the industry as a whole has to, be accountable in some way for what they sell to those that are listening. And I feel like I I'm one individual, one artist making positive music and trying to encourage growth and um you know self self value. You're only as valuable to others as you are to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Um so me being one artist, if I can influence another artist to do the same thing, and that artist can influence another artist, and that artist has two artists that they can influence to do the same thing,
The
I feel
snowball
like I
effect, of
feel like we
course.
could we could set the foundation for something great to happen. And the world doesn't know it yet, but it needs something new. It needs something different, because this same perpetual cycle of negativity in our world and in our music, in our media, is basically a virus to us as a whole, to the people. You know, a lot of music teaches, uh, sends the message that money is what gives you your status, or fame is what makes you a great person. Not everybody famous is great, and not everybody great is famous.
Mm-hmm. True. True.
Um, we just have to set aside the fact that we have to set aside that material things and money and social status, make people great, and understand that God has a divine, definitive purpose for every human being that He created. And I feel like we let the things of the world overshadow that definitive purpose.
Greatly spoken, man. Greatly spoken. I couldn't have said it better myself. Greatly spoken. What advice would you have for upcoming artists who are really in the same mindset that you're in, but they don't want to step out on that limb, per se?
Man, I'll have to say, I had to say this: no, nobody who obtained success did it without sacrificing, did it without commitment. You have to be dedicated. You have to be strong, because this industry is like a pool full of sharks. If you don't go in prepared, they will eat you alive. If you don't go in with the determination to be successful in what you do, and keep the faith that, and let God lead you. Everybody has a higher power in some way or another. And in the craft that I'm pursuing, I believe that my message that I have in my music is was given to me by God to spread out. Because not only am I a hip hop artist, I'm a white hip hop artist, and that puts not only a lot of attention on me, as far as like what is he saying, where does he come from, but it also puts a target on my back. That people want to try to devalue what I do as an artist, even if they can't deny the fact that I'm talented, that I'm different. The fact of the matter is, it's still that outstanding trait about me is evident anywhere I go.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be confident and know that what you're doing is bigger than you, and it's bigger than the haters that you have around you. And you have to also understand that, people that hate you are those that should be motivating you, because if you don't have haters, you're not doing something right. There's something that you're missing. There's something that you have been told you should do, but you just won't do it because you either have too much pride or you're too scared to go out on that limb, like you said. Um, my best piece of advice is just to stick with it. Do what you feel in your heart is necessary for you to do to get to where you need to be, as long as you're not hurting yourself or hurting those that are closest to you. If it hurts you, it's probably not worth pursuing. If it helps you, it's very much worth the criticism that you will get for doing so, because nobody understands your purpose more than you. Nobody has the same relationship with God that you have. every relationship with the higher power is a personal relationship.
True.
And, I may not understand the next person's purpose in this life, but it's not up to me to understand the next person's purpose. It's up to me to understand my own and to pursue my own. So if I can be an influence to anybody to continue on their path to what makes them happy and pursue what they feel they were given by something bigger than them as a means to, achieve success in life, then, if I can reach one person, then I've done my job.
So where'd you get the name Kappa Carter from?
Well, my real name is Caleb, with a K, and Kappa is the Greek letter K. So that's where Kappa comes from. And Carter is one of my two middle names that I got from my grandfather on my mom's side of the family. Okay. So it's fairly simple, Kappa Carter. I actually gave my son Lucas my middle name, so his full name is Lucas Carter Fannin.
Okay.
So it's a birthright.
Yeah. So tell my audience where we can find your projects.
You can find my newest project, It's Me But It Isn't Me, on all download and streaming sites. It's got 12 tracks. The cover is pretty definitive. It's just me looking through like a monocle. That's a magnified monocle. So it's basically a symbol that my third eye is open. You can find that, like I said, on all download and stream sites. It released on January 24th this year. You can find it on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Pandora, YouTube. It's all out there. I'm working on a freestyle video series that I'm getting together. I'm taking some beats from some well-known songs that are out right now and putting my own, little thing on it. So be looking out for that to drop here and there all throughout probably the first half of the year.
Okay.
The most recent one I just dropped is the Drip Like This Challenge freestyle. Mm-hmm. And eventually I'm going to be taking all of those and compiling them into an audio, like a little EP, and putting it on like free mixtape sites and YouTube, and probably make it available for download. Just for the fans, but I've got an older project that I put out in about 2017. That's my self-titled LP. It's about 16 tracks. And this was before I changed my message. This was, I was creating that album in some pretty dark days. And I hadn't quite grasped the full understanding of my purpose in life yet. And I hadn't really, gotten things together like I should have. And so that project didn't go over as well as it should have gone over, but it's out there. For how much longer, I don't know, because I haven't paid DistroKid for my distribution in 2 years, and they've been warning me for 2 years that it's going to be taken down, which I'm looking forward to be taken down just because I want people to hear what I've got now.
I understand.
I want people to hear the message that I have now. Because it's positive. It's very much God-based. I'm also a recovering addict, and I speak out on my addiction a lot in my new record. And I feel like that's part of my purpose, is to reach other addicts who are struggling or who are in recovery, who are, fighting to stay clean. And the basis of that message is, if I can do it, anybody can do it. If you don't have a solid foundation for spirituality in your life, if you don't have a solid understanding of why you are here, the drugs and the addiction is just holding you back from that. And, the only person who can want that is yourself. But I digress. There's another project that I put out with a partner of mine called Shaman. His name's Shaman P. Big shout out to Shaman P. It's called Grow Light. It's also available on all download and stream platforms, including YouTube. but it's out there. If you just Google Kappa Carter, you will find everything you're looking for. My social media plugs are at Kappa Carter 334 on both Instagram and Twitter. I'm also on TikTok as Kappa Carter 334. I regularly post on Instagram more so than any of the other ones, but I'm out there.
Well, Kappa, man, I'm happy you came on the show, man. A lot of great information, man, and I want to thank you for coming on. You really did this some justice, brother. You really did. You're trying to change that narrative, and we need that.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me on, man. It's always a blessing to be able to tell my story and to encourage others to pursue their dreams and never give up. The only way you can really fail in life is to quit. And I've believed that wholeheartedly my entire life. I've heard people tell me constantly throughout my life, this is a 1 in a million thing. It's such a rare occurrence that somebody makes it big in music. Well, you'd be surprised how many successful artists there are that aren't really famous.
Yeah.
That are making a living off of their music.
Yeah.
And the fame is not what I'm looking for. The fame and the fortune and all that is not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is to be able to support my family and myself and be happy doing it. I don't think that people like myself, anybody who has like a creative gene or has a passion about something that they want to pursue that they can make a career out of, I don't think anybody like that is happy working a daily 9 to 5 up and down job that will only get you by for the week. So I strongly encourage anybody who's out there that's doing their thing or that's getting into something that they have a passion for and they feel like they can make a career out of it, go for it. Don't listen to the naysayers. As long as you don't stop and don't quit, don't give up, you will be successful. You just have to rely on God and trust God's timing, and you will get where you're going.
Thank you for coming on, man. Appreciate that message, and hey, good luck to you, brother. I'm gonna be looking out for every project that you're coming in from foreseeable future, and can't wait to see you blow up, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. I thank you so much for having me on, man. It's been a blessing talking to you.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
Hey, you too.